All right, so you've hopefully already worked on the worksheet, and I'm going to go through some of the answers. A couple of them are repeats from the lecture, so I just skipped over those, just to let you know. All right. Well, this wasn't the lecture, but that's okay. No, not all of them. So classify as an acid or a base. Bitter taste, we got a base. Tastes sour, it's an acid. Feels slimy and slippery, like soap, it's a base. Blue is a base. Red is an acid. And gives off hydrogen gas when it reacts to some metals. That is, again, an acid. Alrighty, so this lovely story. Okay, so these medicines are what? They're acids. One of these comes in a blue bottle and is known as Dr. Mom, milk of magnesia, and the chemical name is magnesium hydroxide, and you'll see this a bunch. And the chemical formula is not on the line, but it's MgOH2. So Tums, okay, all right, sorry, I fixed that. It's not Tums, it's calcium hydroxide. Tums is obviously called Tums. So the chemical formula is CaOH2. Another product is Drano. Drano is definitely a base. It's sodium hydroxide, and the chemical formula is NaOH. And this chemical is more dangerous than other ones. Used for heartburn, it can cause blindness or burns. Do not use. It's a base. It's commonly used to produce soaps. It has a bitter taste. Bitter is base. Sour is acid. Seltzer water and all sodas contain a very mild acid known as carbonic acid. The chemical formula is H2CO3. Vinegar is an acid, and it finds its way into our diet and ketchup and most salad dressings. The chemical name for vinegar is acetic acid, and the chemical formula is HC2H3O2. Perfect. Let's keep going. I skipped a couple because we did them, maybe. Okay, but a proton is also known as a hydron. Remember also that in Arrhenius, he talks about it being the hydronium ion, which is H3O+. It kind of represents the same thing as saying that there's hydrogen ions around. Okay, so H2SO4 lost a proton and gained a negative charge, which means it's an acid because it was donating a proton. NH3 went to NH4+, which means it got a proton, receiving a proton makes it a base. So determine what will form when each donates a proton. So a proton's leaving, you get I-, you get OH-, you get NH3. Really, honestly, it's just taking away a proton and reflecting that in the charge. Okay, so the next one, adding a proton to each of these. So it has a -1, so you got a proton, so then it's neutral. O-2 has a 2- charge. You add a proton, so it's only going to be a minus charge. HSO4-, H2SO4, neutral charge. PO3- becomes HPO4, 2-. So perfect. Lewis acid is a substance that can accept a pair of electrons. Remember in the lecture when we went over that. To form a covalent bond, while Lewis base is a substance that can donate a pair of electrons to form a covalent bond. All Brensted-Lowry acids and bases are Lewis acids, but not necessarily the other way around. So this is just talking about what happens. So there's those little electrons picking up the hydrogen. This is an example of a Lewis acid being a Lewis base. I mean a Bronsted-Lowry acid as well, right? So this guy has electron pairs, and he is going to donate electrons, and he's going to accept the proton, or the proton. So he donates his electron pairs and accepts the proton, which would make him a base. So that's exciting. Okay. Okay, so identify the Lewis acid and Lewis base in the following reaction. Draw a Lewis dot structure for each to decide which is donating electrons and which is receiving electrons. So I changed this to CO2, and I'll show you why. But so the acid was CO2 and the base was H2O. Alrighty, so here is the more or less the Lewis dot structure. So we have these two electrons are attacking this partial positive carbocation and becoming H2CO3. So basically what's happening here is that these electrons are being donated to the carbon, and the carbon is accepting the electrons. So the carbon is going, the CO2 is going to be that acid, and H2O is going to be the base by definition of Lewis. All right, cool. If you have any questions, let me or Professor Fishback, Dr. Fishback know.